If you could sit down with President Biden and tell him one thing, what would you tell the president?
Do you know what flavor Jell-O you're having tonight?
You got one question. What would you ask him?
I'd ask him, where is he right now? Because I don't think the guy even knows where he's at.
What would you ask the president?
Probably ask why he's still in office. I don't think he's mentally fit to be president in the first place.
What would you ask President Biden?
I'd say, who's really pulling your strings? Simple as that.
If you could ask Joe Biden one question, if he was standing right here and said, "Sir, how are you today?" Ask me any question. What would you ask him?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe the best answer of all of them, Michael. I got to be honest, because how do you really know what you'd ask a president, a sitting president office, when you'd have no idea what the day-to-day is like? We just go off what we see and hear, and it's pretty obvious what they've seen and what they've heard is that they should be asking them, you must be disoriented, you must be spinning in circles. There's been 2 or 3 different instances that I've seen from Fox News shows that misrepresented what President Biden was saying and doing in a moment just to show or to create this illusion that there's this confusion. Now, by the way, Joe Biden is an elderly man and has had his moments being where he gets lost in what's happening or maybe even doesn't really know. I think they mentioned something like someone was on vacation. These things I think are somewhat normal as a person goes, but I don't think it means that he's now missing, maybe not reading briefings like this former president did. Maybe not paying attention to things that are happening. When someone gives him advice, he goes, no, it's gonna be me instead and nobody else is gonna think this way. It's just whether or not you're competent enough mentally and have any kind of issues with that, that's something that can be determined. But the fact that there's this belief system people have completely bought into based off of what they've heard in blurbs and on Twitter and whatever else that they've heard on social media, that becomes their standard belief system. You can have your thoughts, your assumptions about where someone is, but they are standard and they know just what it is in their own minds, Mike. Was that like the common type of a response, or was that just a small sampling?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much. I mean, whenever anybody said like that last gentleman who didn't want to say anything, didn't know the answer, you could tell that they just were biting their tongues because they wanted to say the same thing. There was nobody who gave a really thoughtful, substantive, hey, do you want to rethink giving money to Ukraine? Do you want? I mean, there was absolutely no, should we continue drilling for more oil, which is a sentiment that they all share, and they blame Biden for gas prices. There was nothing about substance. It was all, the guy doesn't know where he is, and so. But what I always say about these rallies is when I go to them, and I've been to several now, is you kind of just open a vein and let them bleed. You don't egg them on. You really want their honest answers, as astonishing as they sometimes are. You just give them the forum to do it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy these interviews? The interactions, not the fact you have to be there and like the process of going through all of that.
What you're doing when you're interacting is just being friendly too. I mean, I'm not there for gotcha. I'm not there to be antagonistic. And if somebody, rarely, because this audience doesn't watch this programming, but this time somebody knew what TYT was, because they ask where you're from, and this time somebody knew what TYT was, and they said we're traitors, we're frauds, we're what's wrong. America and everything. I don't even get in with those people. The back and forth and the chatter is interesting, and then I'm glad it's over.
My very last question, because I always want to ask Emma this when she's been to some of these. Have you ever sensed any, as people you said the first time, or maybe the first few times, people know you from TYT and they call you traitors and everything, any nefarious thoughts or behavior like, oh yeah, you better get out of here, bro, stuff like that?
No, never. I mean, when I was on the road with Trump for about 15 months in 2015, 2016, I was with Al Jazeera. And because Al Jazeera at the time when he was talking about a Muslim ban, there's a equating of the two. I got a lot of that then. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot. I got some of that then, but not, I had Al Jazeera on my microphone, but no, nothing. I've never felt threatened. These people are really out having a good time. This is not a rowdy bunch. These people
it's like tailgating for a football game.
In fact, it is. I mean, we've talked about that before. These people are really excited and happy to be there. And then you go to we went to dinner afterwards. Zeffrey, the producer, and people who had been at the rally were there, and they said, just simple people who just were, the lot of them, oh, that was really fun. We got to see a president. He was terrific. And Kristi Noem was great. And, we left early because he just kept talking, so it's the majority, it's just what they believe that's astonishing and depressing, but you just kind of plow through.
And I think that's by design. The football nature of it, the tailgating nature of it, the fact that now Democrat, Republican is now, the Commanders versus the Cowboys. That's the way it is now, and that's based on the way people will vote. They'll be like, oh, that guy, he can't throw 35 yards down the field. I'm voting against him. So
right.
That's the way this whole thing works now.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.